This Arizona-based apparel brand is committed to protecting the outdoors and has made a commitment to pick up, get this, a pound of trash for every product sold. Since being founded in 2016, this seven-figure brand has picked up over 1 million pounds of trash and sold over 1 million products. In this episode, we are going to break down Keep Nature Wild, the brand, their designs, their website, and their marketing so that you can learn from their success. Also, I've got a special bonus tip for you at the end, so be sure to listen to the entire episode. I'm Adrian Von Arx, here with my co-host Kerry Egler, and welcome to the Print on Demand Playbook podcast. What's up, everybody? Hope you are doing well. I am super excited for this episode because we're going to be taking kind of a peek behind the scenes at a very, very successful multiple seven-figure apparel brand here in the Grand Canyon State where I am. And they've just done so many things well. And I really do think that there's so much that we can learn from them. So in this episode, we're going to kind of break it down into four main categories. One, we're going to talk about the brand. Two, we're going to be talking about the designs. Three, we're going to talk about the website. And then four, of course, we have to talk about marketing. But just before we do that, Kerry, what's going on, man?
What's going on, man?
I'm good.
Fun facts. I've never really spent any time in Arizona. I've driven through.
You're missing out.
But I know I've never really spent any time in Arizona. Also, not on purpose, but I wore my Oklahoma shirt today just to rub it in your face. You know, you picked an Arizona brand. No, I'm just kidding. Arizona's way cooler than Oklahoma.
So funny.
But
so funny, man. I almost wore my Arizona State shirt, which looks so much like your Oklahoma shirt. It's gray with red letters. So
that's funny. But hey, I hear you have a new nephew.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Carlos, my brother, recently had a beautiful baby boy. So that's been super exciting and very time consuming, mostly for him. But yeah, super excited to welcome him into the family. He's incredible. He doesn't say much, but he's incredible.
He will soon. Congratulations, man. That's awesome. Congrats to Carlos.
Exactly.
We love Carlos. Part of the family here, of course.
Shout out. Congrats to Carlos. But yeah, just before we get into the main event, I want to talk about, or actually I should say, I want to shout out one of our amazing listeners. And this one is coming all the way from New Zealand, Kerry. So let's hear what this incredible listener, Charisse 07 has to say. So she wrote us a 5-star review, and the title was Absolutely Addicted. And she says, I only found this podcast about a month ago, and wow, I am hooked. Or am I hooked? It's honestly the best one out there for anyone in print on demand. Each episode is like a treasure trove of info. My phone is literally filled with hundreds of screenshots of all the tips I want to remember. I've even started a notebook to keep all these cool strategies and tips in one place. I keep listening to some episodes over and over, and every time there's something new that jumps out at me. It's amazing that all this amazing advice is just given away for free. Huge shout out to both of you. You guys rock. Thanks for all the incredible tips and for keeping it so real and helpful. Can't wait for the next episode. Charisse from down under in New Zealand.
Dude, that's too good. Charisse, thank you so much for that kind review. That was amazing. I love hearing that. And it's just so interesting to me because I know there's certain people that I listen to or books that I'll read or courses I'll go through where I feel the same. You know, or even podcasts, like there's podcasts I listen to where I feel the same way, where it's just like there's so much good stuff coming out that you're just taking a million notes. And so it's always really, really fascinating to me that we have listeners that feel that way about what we're saying, which is just so cool. So Charisse, thank you so much. That's just such an awesome review. We appreciate you.
Yeah, we're always so humbled by these reviews. You're awesome, Charisse. Please, guys, if you are enjoying the podcast, consider leaving us a review. We really appreciate it, and we love to shout you out. So with that, let's jump into the meat and the potatoes of this episode. I'm sure everyone's excited to hear about this brand and to do a dive, to kind of see what they're doing well and how we can take some clues from their success that we can then apply to our businesses. So like I mentioned, we're going to break this down into 4 categories, and we're just going to go through each one at a time. So I like to really organize information so it's more easy to digest. So first, we're going to talk about brand, second, designs, third, website, fourth, marketing. Let's start with brand. So this brand is hailing from Mesa, Arizona, and they are called Keep Nature Wild. And I want to read a little bit about them because I actually feel like this brand really resonates with me and my values. And this is what we want you, our listeners, to create with your brand. Like, we love creating and helping others create mission-based brands. And what we found is that in 2024, a lot of the most profitable and sustainable brands are the ones who are mission-based because they attract the raving fans. They attract the passionate brand advocates who end up not only supporting you across multiple channels, but also purchasing from you again and again. And I hope you know by now that the profit is really in the repeat sales. The fortune is in the repeat sales. So let's talk about Keep Nature Wild. Here's what it says on their website. At Keep Nature Wild, we like to have fun outside. We share stories about around the campfire. We look up at the stars. We dream big. We laugh loudly. We bring that lighthearted spirit to every item we make and every outdoor cleanup we host. Our products are crazy cozy, super soft, and exceptionally comfy. We design outdoor apparel and accessories to bring a smile to your face, to brighten your day, to enable your next adventure, to spark connection, to build community, and to make our planet a better place. Wow, that alone is just so well written and just really, like, it strikes a chord with me personally, and I could definitely see it striking a chord with a lot of other people. But I digress. Let me continue. Our products are designed in Arizona and made for the wild, but there's an extra earth-friendly impact behind our apparel and accessories. For every apparel product sold, we could pick up 1 pound of trash. To date, they have picked up 1,168,738 pounds of trash, and roughly 10% of their profits go towards funding cleanups. And here's kind of a fun fact. The Cameron Jarman, so this is the CEO and founder of Keep Nature Wild. He was actually a high school teacher when the company took off.
Wow.
And the company was founded back in 2016. So he actually was just doing this on the side, kind of as a side hustle. It really took off. And then eventually he went over and started doing it full time. But Kerry, what do you think of that just kind of brand story? Like, it doesn't get much more mission-based than that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's well written. It's a simple mission. I always like really simple missions. So, 10% of their profits go towards funding cleanups. Like, yeah, we're just trying to clean up nature, trying to clean up the outdoors, right? And so I think that's just really cool, really well written, and definitely connects with somebody that has this kind of mission in mind. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, and what a differentiator, picking up a pound of trash for every item sold. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of brands, there's so many brands out there, and I feel like a lot of the time we forget brand names, but we remember their purpose. And it kind of reminds me of this other brand that was in the yoga pant niche, and their claim to fame was all their yoga pants were made from recycled plastic. And I always forgot their name. I'm trying to remember what it is now. My Inner Fire. I don't even know if they're still around. But even though I forgot their name a lot, I never forgot that all their yoga pants were made from recycled plastic. And I feel the same about Keep Nature Wild. Like, you might forget the name, but it's almost easier to remember the purpose than the name. And what I feel like a lot of people talk about now, because people love to support these mission-based, value-based brands, and they love to share their values, right? And what I could see people saying when someone says, "Hey, I love your shirt," they're probably like, "Yeah, thank you so much. This brand actually picks up a pound of trash for every item sold," right? Like, I feel like a lot of times you remember that more than the brand. And so I just think it's a really cool, very unique differentiator, something that is very easy to remember. Mm-hmm. But I want to kind of jump into some really high level stats, just a couple really high level stats. So this brand, as I mentioned, they have picked up over 1.1 million pounds of trash. And because they pick up a pound of trash for every item sold, that makes me believe that they've sold over 1.1 million products.
Mhm.
And I'm going to assume very conservatively,
I think you're shooting too low on this one.
So the reason why I shot so low on this is because even this number is going to blow your mind.
Yeah.
But it's also because they sell a lot of stickers and kind of lower price items, but a lot of their best sellers do appear to be apparel. So I'm shooting low here just to be really conservative, but I'm going to assume they have a $25 average value. If you multiply the number of products sold by $25, you get over $29 million in revenue. $29 million in revenue, $29 million in sales. Kerry, like, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's wild. So it's not going to be the same every year, but if we take that number,
Right.
they've been in business about 8 years. So we're talking about was that 3.6 million a year? Is that right? 3.6.
I don't know. I don't have a
times
calculator
8.
in front of me. I can't.
Yeah, it's about 3.6 million a year. Maybe between 3.6 and 3.7 million a year, somewhere in there. It's probably been.
And you got to think when they started out that, a lot of brands, year one, a lot of brands aren't making that much money in year one.
So it's probably been a little bit bigger. I want to say towards the back half of that. They could have had a big spike during, the COVID era, the couple of years there. But yeah, somewhere around, let's say 3 to 4 million a year.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all.
I had to sneeze.
What's that?
I muted my mic because I had to sneeze. I was like, oh no, it's coming. To sneeze.
Oh, no worries.
Sorry, listeners, but I did hit the mute button.
Oh, all right. Let's. What I want to do too now is so we talked about the stats, very high level, kind of basic stats. I also want to summarize the niche because I hope you all know that the riches are in the niches. This is something Kerry and I say all the time. I don't know where this originated, but it's a brilliant quote, and it's been my experience and the experience of so many of our students. So this is something that we really, really preach, and we practice what we preach. So niche summary, I want to talk about the niche here. So first of all, this is an inclusive brand for people passionate about the outdoors and sustainability. That's really what it comes down to. Like, this is a brand that, is all about the outdoors, hiking. I would say kind of that's the main thing. You can check out their website. You can check out their social media. You'll see that it's so much outdoor content, right? Which makes a lot of sense. But they're also big on sustainability, and that really aligns with their differentiator, which is that they pick up a pound of trash for every product they sell. So I love that about them. Another thing I love about this niche is it's extremely passionate. There are so many people passionate about hiking, about sustainability, about the national parks. I would say that that's kind of a sub niche of this brand, the national parks. So you've got a very passionate niche. You've got a brand that's mission-based, very mission-based. Like, I read you the description. You can tell that this is a very value-driven, mission-driven brand. And then the other thing I noticed about this niche, just by looking at all their content, is that the demographic primarily appears to be millennials in the US. That's what I see. Now, I'm sure they make sales outside of the US and non-millennials, but if you look at their social media, it looks like millennials in the US that love the outdoors and that are passionate about sustainability. And I can tell you, this is the niche I identify with. I can tell you this is a massive, passionate niche. But Kerry, I want to know your thoughts on the niche. How well do you think they did at really dialing it in?
It's pretty specific, I think a lot of times, so if we just said nature in general, I think that could be pretty broad, right? I've told many students, like, maybe go a little bit more specific. Like, is it like the mountains? Is it camping? Is it, hunting? Is it like there's so many different things. Hiking. Yeah. Probably shouldn't throw hunting in there. That's probably not what this what it's about, but you know what I'm saying? The outdoors, there's a lot of different things that you could, a lot of different directions you could go with that. Maybe like biking, trails, different things. We reviewed one that was national parks, was kind of focused on national parks, right? So it was a little more specific. But I think where the key comes in is when a couple things that in my mind. So you've got the niche of just nature, outdoors. But then when you combine that with a really specific customer, so they've got millennials here, which is pretty specific on their age group, right? US based, probably not, they probably sell all over the US, but there's definitely pockets of the US that are going to be more apt to buy from this brand if they've got more of an outdoors. You think Washington, you think like the west side of the US, like Washington, California, Arizona. I mean, those are like beautiful outdoor, areas. People are hiking more, doing those kind of things. So the customer, but then you also combine that with the mission. So you think about those three things, right? You think about somebody who really cares about sustainability and cleaning up trash and keeping nature clean. That's specific. You think about somebody who's into the outdoors, into mountains and nature, and then you think about millennials, right? So there's three things there that they're really dialing in on, to where when you run an ad or you put out marketing on social media, it's only going to resonate with the people that really hit those three things, right? For the most part. You might get some people that buy the design just because they like them. Maybe they don't care about the giving back part, the trash part, and the cleanup part or whatever. But for the most part, like, they've got those three kind of key points that they're dialing in on their niche and customer. And when you combine those three things together, you see a very specific niche overall. And, very, it's just dialed in, right? It's dialed in. It's easy to understand. There's nothing confusing about it. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the niche. Is like, you can get super specific with just niche, but when you combine it with a specific customer and a mission, it doesn't have to be as specific on the niche, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I really love about this brand, well, there's a lot of things I love about this brand, but two things I really love is, one, everything is so well aligned, like sustainability in the outdoors. There's a lot of overlap there. If you're passionate about the national parks, you're very passionate. You're likely passionate about preserving the national parks. And so something like a park cleanup just makes so much sense. This is a brand that does park cleanups every year, and they bring out hundreds of people. Like, they did a park cleanup here a couple of years ago at Lake Pleasant here in Phoenix. And I think they got like 300 people out, all picking up trash, helping support their cause. And that's a beautiful thing. These are probably all people that just really care about maintaining these beautiful parks. They call them wild keepers. I think they actually like name their tribe. They call them wild keepers. And you can
That's
actually
awesome.
sign up for cleanups for this brand. I actually plan on signing up for a cleanup for this brand. I would love to do that. So I just love that about them. So, one, everything is so well aligned with this brand. And two, they're crystal clear on their niche. Something I always tell my students is, if someone goes on your Instagram page or on your website and they cannot tell within 5 seconds what your brand stands for and why it exists, there needs to be some cleaning up there. Like, you need to kind of clean it up, because Kerry, like, you've seen their website, you've seen their Instagram. It is undisputable what this brand stands for and what niche they are serving. And that makes people think right away, I'm in the right place. Like, this brand was made for me. This brand gets me. And that's what you need, because attention spans are very short these days. And if someone doesn't know where they are or why they're on this website or why this brand exists, they're much more likely to hop off. But if you can hook them within that first 3 to 5 seconds and make them see, like, oh, this totally aligns with my values, they're much more likely to check you out. They're much more likely to follow you. They're much more likely to shop, and they're much more likely to buy. So that's all I'm going to say about brand. I just wanted to kind of like start with that. I always love starting with a brand and giving kind of a breakdown there. But let's talk about their products just before we get into the design. So next we're going to talk about designs, but I just want to talk about the products real quick. So they actually sell a lot of products that are really popular for print on demand. And I'm pretty sure this is not a print on demand brand. I think they actually print their own stuff. I don't know for sure. All I know is that they have a big warehouse here in the greater Phoenix area. And so that would make me think that they're printing their own stuff, or maybe have them locally printed and then stored in their big warehouse. But anyhow, if you look at their product selection, pretty much everything here can be printed on demand. And so if you wanted to create a nature inspired brand. I would say more like a hiking inspired brand, just to be a little bit more specific. This would be a great brand to use as inspiration, right? They're highly successful. They've got amazing designs. They've got products that you can create similar products like t-shirts, for example. And they're just a great example of a very successful brand in that niche. And that's what you want. Success leaves clues. You want to identify successful brands in your niche, and then you want to take inspiration. You don't want to steal from them. You don't want to copy them, but you want to take inspiration from them. So in terms of products, really the main ones are tees, tanks, stickers, headwear, accessories. They actually have a bunch of other products as well. But another thing I like about their product selection is they're all very relevant to camping, hiking, the outdoors. Like I saw card decks on there. I saw, posters.
I wanted to point out one, which is the belt bags. We recently talked about belt bags, and this is one that's really intriguing to me, mainly because I've seen these grow in popularity. And then as I was mentioning to you in a previous episode, like my wife has gotten really into these Lululemon ones, and it's just funny because they look just like the ones that they're selling. They're advertising them on the front page, fanny packs, and you click on them, and they've got a couple different styles, but they've got like the kind of like rectangle ones that are just, they don't have, like, they're very simple, just one pocket, and then they have a little front zipper pocket, but they're just kind of these like rectangle, if you know what I'm talking about, from Lululemon, like they have that look. So I was just like intrigued to see that because it's a super trendy product right now. And it looks like that's one of their best sellers, I would assume, because they're really advertising them on the front page.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that. Like I'm just on their best sellers page right now, and I'm looking at a couple of their best sellers, and the lifestyle images are these women wearing the shirts that are the best sellers. But in the first 5 images I'm seeing, 2 of the women are wearing fanny packs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're cross promoting their products, which is amazing, but they're also trying to show, hey, we're on trend. We've got cool products. Like not only do we represent the outdoor lifestyle hiking, but you can also look cool doing it. Like I would say that this is kind of a premium brand just based on their imagery, on their, the lifestyle images, their marketing, their branding, their pricing. And it's like an on-trend premium brand too. So we're going to talk more about that. But let's move on to the second category of the breakdown, and that is design. So I want to talk about their designs for a sec because there's quite a bit to unpack here. So first of all, if you go on their website or look on their Instagram, which is just at Keep Nature Wild, you're going to notice that a lot of their designs, especially some of their best-selling designs, are very simple, minimalist style designs. There's not a ton going on. Like some of them, there is more going on, but a lot of them are really minimalist. Like it might have a couple of trees with a slogan, or one of their best sellers of all time is totally text-based, and it says, "I'd hike that." Now I know that's been used to death by a lot of hiking brands. I feel like every hiking brand has that slogan now. Maybe these guys were the original creators of it, but that's one of their best-selling designs. So this just reinforces what we already know from the data, that simple sells, simple design sell. Designs with 1 to 2 design elements.
When you sort them by best selling, I mean, like their top designs are all like incredibly simple. The one that says wild with the tree, is obviously like all these different variations of it, long sleeve, tank, hat, right? They're doing the things that we always talk about. They have a bestseller, like this wild design. They put it on a bunch of different products because it fits on hats, all these different products. But yeah, the designs are super simple. Most of them, I would say the majority of them have some kind of like circular text or curved text with maybe 1 or 2 elements in there, like they've got one with like a Yeti kind of guy on it, a bear, like these outdoor kind of symbols, mountains or trees or, Bigfoot, like those kind of things, like cactuses, right? Like it's like let's take one element, let's find a really good color scheme, and then let's add some like curved text. Like that's the formula. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Totally. And speaking of colors, I'm glad you brought that up because that was one of the things I wanted to point out in terms of their, not only their designs, but their products. So what you'll notice on their across the board with their products, they use trendy nature inspired colors. So if you
Yeah.
go on their website, you're going to notice that they have a lot of tan, that like kind of tan sand color. They have forest green, they have yellow, they have a number of pastel colors, and all of these really align with the whole nature niche. So it kind of goes back to intention, right? They're very intentional with everything they do. And like it looks like an outdoors brand, even if like, just based on their color selection. I see here like a burnt orange, which looks like a sunset. You see like an olive. They're just really a rose. They're really intentional about the colors that they use for their products. And then if you look at their designs, the colors they use in the designs are the same. You see like
Mostly
green and
white.
yellow. What's that?
Most of them are white. I mean, there's a
Yeah,
lot of white just because
a
I
lot of
guess,
white.
dark colors.
A
But
lot of
yeah,
white,
yeah, I mean,
yellow, brown,
yeah,
but like
you know,
yellow like the sun, brown like a tree,
yeah,
green like the forest. It's just very intentional.
yeah,
Tan like sand.
100%.
Very, very cool. So something worth noting, like they did not, this is not a random assortment of colors. Uh, the other thing I wanted to mention about them is they have branded products. So if you actually look at their t-shirts, you'll see that they have an inside neck label, which is a great way to build brand recognition. It's a great way to remind people where they bought your shirt from. The reason I say that is because a lot of people buy these products from Instagram. And there's going to be times where someone's going to ask them where they got it. And they're like, oh, I got it on Instagram. And they might even forget the name of the brand, right? But if you have the inside
Yeah,
neck label, they're going to be seeing that all the time. And guess what? If they're going to reach for their favorite shirt that's from your brand and they're like, man, I really need a wardrobe refresh. Like fall's coming up. I need a wardrobe refresh. And then they see that brand name, that's more likely going to make them go on your Instagram or go on your website and look for more amazing products that align
exactly.
with their values and their passions, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's great for that, but it's also just great for increasing your perceived value. So, if you look at the prices on their website, their t-shirts are around 32 to 34 kind of dollars. There's a long sleeve tee here for $38. So it's kind of like the $32 to $34 range for t-shirts, which it's not ultra premium by any means, but it's not like bargain discount like so many
Yeah.
t-shirts you see on a marketplace like Etsy,
It's a
right?
good,
Like
it's a
this
good,
brand is trying to
it's a good middle
stand
ground.
out. And what's that?
I was just saying it's a good place to be. Like it's not overly expensive. It's not cheap. It's right in the middle, it's
Yeah.
good pricing.
It's a price point that a lot of people will pay for a brand that aligns with their values that they want to support, and products that they really love. That's,
Exactly.
a lot of people will do that. And when you do the inside neck label, you don't have to do an inside neck label. This is optional. And you do have to pay an additional cost to have inside neck labels done through your print on demand. However, it does increase your perceived value and it helps you build your brand and your brand recognition. And what I would do at a minimum is mark up the product price at least to cover that cost of adding the inside neck label, right? But I would say you can even do a little bit more. Like I think $32 to $34 for a t-shirt is a very fair price, in my opinion. I would happily pay that much for a t-shirt. So they did a really good job there. And that's kind of like the last thing I want to mention, kind of just reiterating the theme of designs, is all their products and their designs are very on brand. Like it's all this looks like an outdoor brand. If I took away all the designs and I just looked at the products themselves, and someone said, hey, just based on these products, the product types and the colors, what niche do you think this brand is in? I think I would guess outdoors just because
Absolutely.
of all the pastel yellows and the forest greens and the tans and stuff like that, right? Don't you agree,
Absolutely.
Kerry?
100%. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the third kind of pillar of the breakdown, and that is the website. Man, their website's beautiful. It's really,
It's really
really
good.
nice. It's definitely nothing crazy, but it's clean, it's minimalist. It does a great job of showcasing their products. The color schemes are very intentional. So, for example, their announcement bar at the top where it says free shipping on US orders over $65, it's forest green, of course, right? Because they're a hiking brand. And that just makes so much sense. It's the same color as their logo, which is like a forest green, the Keep Nature
Yep.
Wild logo. But Kerry, what are your first thoughts on the website?
Yeah, I mean, my first thoughts are it's actually pretty simple. Like it's just really well designed.
Mm-hmm.
I really love this banner because if you'll go to their website, if you're listening, keepnaturewild.com, they've got on the left side and the right side, they've got two lifestyle images, but then right in the middle, they have their mission statement, nature inspired gear that gives back, and a really massive call to action button that says shop now. And it's just a really nice color that really pops off of that dark green background. It's an orange button. Their banner is really nice. But what I wanted to say was that there's really like out of the box, if you just opened a Shopify store, the only thing I think that you'd have to probably have some kind of like additional app or some coding for would be the part where they have 1 million pounds. You know, it counts like the number. They have a number that counts up to how many pounds. That might require like some app or something. But other than that, like everything else is super simple. Everything is really clean laid out. There's nothing here that I would think that you couldn't do relatively easily. They've got a banner. They've got their best sellers list. They've got some collections. They've got reviews. I really like
Mm-hmm.
also, I wanted to add, I really like how they have the review number and the stars under each product, but then they also have a separate section where they have reviews down towards the bottom. So I like that they actually show some of the reviews, but then they also have just like the number on each product of how many reviews they have on those products. It's a great, great, clean,
Yep.
easy, friendly website.
Yep. Totally agree. And one thing I like too is on their hero image or their banner image. So if you go on the homepage of their website, by the way, we'll link, we'll include a link in the show notes to this brand's website so you can check it out for yourself. But if you just look at the banner image at the top, I love this. They essentially sum up their entire brand in 6 words: nature inspired gear that gives back. Boom,
Yep.
clean, easy to digest, easy to remember, easy to know if this resonates with you, right? And I love when brands do this. I love it. This is something that I tell all my students to do. Like on the banner image, it goes back to making sure that people know what your brand stands for and why it exists, right? Right at the very top on their homepage, they should be able to see if you should be able to do this. I think any brand can do this. Add a simple one-liner that sums up that exact thing, what your brand stands for and why it exists. Nature inspired, nature niche, gear, clothing and apparel that gives back, purpose, right? Boom, just summed up so succinctly. So I love that about it. A couple other things I really want to point out about the website that I think they did a really good job is you'll notice when you check this out that they have very high quality product and lifestyle imagery. I don't know if they're working with influencers. I know that they have an ambassador program, but these are really nice lifestyle images. Some look like they're done in a studio. Some are definitely done in the outdoors. Like there's a woman here, she's in the forest hiking. And they just did a really good job. Like it looks really, really clean, really, really good. Their images look really consistent. They might be using a filter to make it consistent. I can't quite tell, but they just look really nice. The other thing, kind of reiterating a bit of what I just said, is many of the images are taken in nature, which it just makes so much sense for the niche, right? If you're in the nature niche, why not have some lifestyle imagery of people in nature? Right? That you want shoppers to you want to make shoppers able to imagine themselves wearing your products. And what better way to do that than have people that look like them doing the things that they do wearing their products, right? So again, goes back to being very intentional. The models look like their ideal target audience. So if you go through their website and their social media, most of them look like millennials.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's not a lot of super young people. They do have some families, like young families and whatnot, in some of their imagery, but there's not a lot of super young people, and there's not like kind of like retirees and above age people on their website. Like they kept it very specific. Again, going back to looking like their target audience. They have lots of social proof. I love this. You can never have enough social proof. So lots of customer reviews. They have user generated looking content, lifestyle imagery. All this stuff just makes you, it builds trust. And that is so, so important. I think a lot of people overlook this. Like you want shoppers to know, like, and trust you. That know, like, and trust factor, a lot of times that can be the difference between making a conversion and not making a conversion. Because even if I went on a website and I liked some of their designs, if the website looks super sketchy and didn't build my trust and did the opposite, I probably wouldn't buy from it because I'd be worried it was a scam or something, right? But that's not how I feel about Keep Nature Wild at all. The last thing I want to point out, and then I want to know if you want to say anything else about their website, Kerry, is they have this somewhat premium pricing. So like I said, $32 to $34 for a t-shirt. I think that's a really good price point, especially if you're creating branded products. It's a really fair price to ask. And a lot of people will buy at this price point, a lot, especially because they want to support a brand that aligns with their values. I mean, I would way rather, as a outdoor enthusiast, I would way rather support a brand like Keep Nature Wild than go buy the same shirt at Walmart, for example, because Walmart doesn't stand for it. The values aren't the same, right?
Yep.
This brand, I feel like this brand was made for me. I don't feel like the brand was made for me.
Sure.
So Kerry, your thoughts, final thoughts on the website.
The only thing I wanted to add on the website was you mentioned the mockups and how high quality the mockups are. This is a super minor detail, but it's becoming, or it has been for a little while, just kind of my preferred way to lay out a website. And as far as the products go, and this is kind of I guess my pro tip for anybody just trying to design your website and make it look really professional, is they have a consistent flat lay mockup style across all their products as the primary mockup. So it's just a t-shirt or a hoodie or a belt bag, just kind of like a static image. Just the product is just sitting there on a flat background, right? And they all are very consistent. It's the same cropping, right? It just looks great. It looks very professional. And then when you mouse over the product image, you see a lifestyle image. So they've been very intentional to make sure that all of their main product mockups are very similar looking and cropped the same way, the same sizing, right? And then when you mouse over that, when you just put your mouse over it, you see the lifestyle image. And so this is like my preferred way to lay out products. I think it just makes it look very cohesive, very professional. And so it's just kind of like a more of a detail-oriented tech tip you could take from this website. I think it looks really good.
Totally. Very, very clean. Focus all on the product and the design, for sure. All right. Let's talk about the fourth and final pillar, most people's favorite to talk about, and that is marketing. So let's talk about it. First of all, I just want to point out their primary acquisition channel online, which seems very obvious. I looked at their Instagram. I looked at their TikTok. They even have a YouTube, but their TikTok and YouTube didn't have many followers at all. It's really Instagram. Like that is very clearly where their energy is focused. This is the most common primary acquisition channel that I see for apparel brands online. And it's my personal favorite acquisition channel. I love brand building on Instagram. So you can tell, like, if you go on their Instagram, 295,000 followers, beautiful grid, just beautiful. Like if you are an outdoor brand, even if you're not an outdoor brand, take inspiration from this brand. They have a beautiful grid. And what I really like about their grid is that it's not just all their products. Like if you go on there, there's these like insane, beautiful outdoor nature shots. It's, like I'm looking at one, it's like cactus with a blue sky background. Another one, this person, it looks like they're stand-up paddleboarding on a lake. Another one, they're like this blue, like Gatorade blue lake in the mountains. It looks like it's glacier fed. It's just really, really beautiful. So this kind of content is going to catch the eye of their ideal customer. And they're really consistent with kind of their content. So it's a mix of kind of the value posts and the product posts. The most recent one that I'm looking at right now is actually a carousel of 5 hidden gem national parks. And you can just go through here, and number 1, North Cascades. Number 2, Cuyahoga Valley. And they just kind of talk a little bit about it. They show images of each of these. And I just think it's really beautiful. Kerry, any thoughts on their Instagram?
Yeah, I mean, I do have some thoughts on their Instagram. I don't personally, I'm guessing here. I don't know that their Instagram is like a primary, as far as organic. I don't know that that's the primary way that they're attracting sales. I think it's beautiful. I think they're great stuff. They just don't have a ton of engagement when I look at the posts. There's not a ton going on. They're actually not even posting that frequently on the Instagram. So that just makes me a little bit curious. They don't have stories up right now. I know they are running a ton of Facebook ads. When I look into their Facebook ads, they're running a ton there. So I'm sure that's a huge part of it. But also, one other thing I just wanted to bring up, and I think you'd mentioned this earlier, they have a Facebook VIP group that I was able to find, which says, "Welcome to the official Keep Nature Wild VIP Facebook group. Join in on all the fun, get all exclusive perks like early access to big drops, exclusive discounts, opportunities to give feedback on new products, early access to Wildkeeper applications." I'm assuming Wildkeeper might be it's either their cleanup program or their ambassador program. Yeah. And so this actually has 3.5 thousand members. So that's actually a pretty good sized group for something like this. So it makes me wonder if organically they're selling a lot through their ambassadors, a lot through their VIP group, and then also through Facebook and Instagram ads. It's not to say they're not selling on Instagram. I'm sure they are making some sales on Instagram, but that's just kind of what I saw there.
Totally. So in terms of social media, their largest presence by far is on Instagram. And I think what a lot of people don't know is that a lot of people go on Instagram to research brands that they just heard about, brands that they haven't bought from, just to see kind of how legit they look. And this is something that you have to keep in mind. Even if 100%. You are not reaching a lot of people on Instagram right now, a lot of people are probably still going on. If you're reaching them through, let's say, ads or some other form of marketing, a lot of people are going to go on Instagram and they're going to look for your brand and they're going to see if it looks trustworthy and they're going to see what you post and they're going to see if it aligns with their values. And I think that, they've done a really good job of that. You're right. They don't post that frequently, but they've done a really good job of curating their grid and just making it look really beautiful, really consistent. And it goes back to within the first 5 seconds, you go on their Instagram, you knew exactly what this brand is and why they exist. Yeah. So definitely, like, in terms of presentation, absolutely beautiful. They do run a ton of ads and they also sell wholesale. So I've actually seen them in a lot of kind of local boutiques in the Phoenix area. I've seen them in Sedona. I don't think they have any actual stores themselves. And I think they might use fair.com for wholesale. I think I saw that they use fair.com. So fair.com is essentially a middleman for selling wholesale. And there's actually print on demand brands that are using fair.com. And it essentially connects you with mainly like mom, pa, brick and mortar, boutique kind of shops where people can purchase from you in bulk through fair.com. It connects the brick and mortars with the brand. So it could be your print on demand brand and the brick and mortar. And I'm pretty sure I saw them that they're on fair.com. I just want to confirm that. They're on Fair. So this is one way that they're selling wholesale. They probably have a team doing outreach as well, because I do see them a lot at least in Arizona. I haven't really seen
Yeah.
them anywhere else that I can think of, but they probably are other places as well. So it's kind of a mix, right? They've got an omni-channel approach. They do email marketing. They have Instagram, which is their most active social media. They're running a ton of paid ads, which we're going to talk about in a sec. And then they're also selling wholesale. So
Yeah, they're doing
in
a
terms of
lot.
their content, what's that?
They're doing a lot of different things. And
Yeah.
I just wanted to add, if you're thinking about, if you're wondering about the VIP group kind of strategy, I do know, a lot of brands that have success with this strategy of having like a private group. And it's just really just an exclusive thing you can invite, past buyers to, or you can invite your best fans, people that are really engaged with the brand. You can invite them in here just to get that exclusive access, early access to drops, discounts that maybe other people don't get, and it just makes them feel special. And so what ends up happening is these VIP groups, they make a lot of sales from those VIP groups, especially when you first launch a collection or a group of products, and it can be a really powerful strategy.
Totally. I agree, but I would also give a word of caution because I did do a private group in the past, and I actually ended it because it was so much work to keep people engaged, and I take 100% responsibility. Like I was the reason why that group
Yeah.
wasn't successful because I didn't know that it was going to take so much upkeep and engagement and just posting consistently and stimulating conversations and stuff, right? And I just didn't have the bandwidth for it. But there are some brands that are doing this very, very well. And I think the brand that I've seen that's doing it the absolute best, I've never seen an apparel brand do a better job with a private group, is Constantly Varied Gear. So this is a brand in the fitness niche, kind of CrossFit, fitness CrossFit niche. And if you want to see an example of a really, really good, very engaged private community, check them out on Facebook. Just you have to actually apply. I mean, all you have to do is answer a couple questions, and you'll probably get in. But it's incredible. Like they are making a lot of sales on there because I joined the group, and you can see that there's a lot of people that are saying, "Oh, I just bought this. I love this." They ask people's opinions. Like they'll be like, "Hey, which one should we drop? Like which of these new designs should we drop?" And they'll do two, and essentially it'll be a vote, and they let their followers vote on the ones, which is great because essentially they're getting validation before they commit to adding it to their website, which I think is so brilliant. So there are some brands that are doing a great job at this, but I will just say that in my experience when I did it, because I didn't have the bandwidth and I wasn't prepared to put in the time for it, I didn't know that it was going to be so much maintenance. I did not have success with it. But this brand, Constantly Varied Gear, they have a team. So they probably have one person dedicated to, this Facebook private group because they're always posting in there. They're always replying to comments and stuff like that. So definitely it can work.
Yeah.
But think of it almost like its own marketing channel. It's not something you can just leave and just have passively doing well.
Sure.
I mean, eventually when you build it up, it might get to that where you have people engaging so much that you don't actually have to engage much in it, but it can take a lot of upfront work. So aside from that, let's take a look at their ads library. So Kerry, I know you're already checking it out, but what are some of the first things that you notice about their ads?
Did I say I was already checking it out? Oh man. I thought
you mentioned earlier that they're running a ton of ads.
Like the first thing I do is go to the Facebook page and look up the ads library. Yeah. I mean, their ads are pretty interesting because I really don't. Now, some of their ads are what you would kind of expect. They've got some ads that are, just direct lifestyle images directly on of their designs and everything. But my first impression is they've got a lot of ads that I don't think we would normally say would be like the winners, and maybe they are. But they've got like a lot of ads where the designs are not the center of attention. They're off to the side or like tilted a little bit, but they are one thing that's really great about them is they are all in nature. They're, they're very fitting to their brand. They've got dogs in some of the more recent ones. They've got a lot of ads where they're advertising a collection and they're showing a bunch of different products in the collection. They're doing a lot of different things. It kind of goes with that omni-channel thing you were talking about of just like they're showing a lot of different types of content in a lot of different types of places with their paid ads. You're going to see
Mhm.
on their active ads, they have ads that are in Reels format. They have ads that are in Square. They have ads that are videos that aren't like Reels formatted. They're not like tall. Like they just have a lot of different styles of ads, and um, they also have a lot of different angles. So like in some of them, they're advertising their products, but then like they have some ads where they're talking about how much trash they've removed from nature. They're talking about how they were featured in a local
Mhm.
magazine, as like a great brand. So um, it's interesting the way that they're going about their ad strategy.
Yeah. Yeah. I do like that they mention their mission in a lot of the ads
Absolutely.
because I think that that's really going to resonate with people and make people want to support them more. Right.
Mhm.
Um, and just an FYI for everyone listening, like you do not need to do something like this. You don't
Sure.
need to pick up a pound of trash for every product sold. You don't need to donate 10% to a nonprofit. Like you don't need to do this to be successful. You can be successful without this. But this is just a way, it's a strategy to differentiate. They're using this strategy to differentiate themselves, and they're doing something that's kind of hard to do. I think it's a lot easier
Absolutely.
just to donate a portion of the profits to charity, right? Than to actually go out there and pick up a pound of trash and organize hundreds of people to come together and do these cleanups. So I just want to kind of just set that expectation because I feel like a lot of people, when they hear about this, are like, oh man, I need to do this too. No, you don't. You can create a very successful brand that doesn't provide anything to charity. And I'm not saying don't provide to charity,
Mhm.
but especially at the beginning when you're just trying to get off the ground, don't feel the pressure to do that. The nice thing about something like 10% of profits is donated is it's 10% of profits. So if you're not making any profit at the beginning, you're not donating anything, right?
Mhm.
But you can always add this as a differentiator down the road too. So don't feel the pressure to feel like you need to start your brand and have some donate part of the proceeds or do a cleanup or something like that. The only other thing I want to say, there's two things. One, their ads, Kerry, I don't know if you noticed this, but they're primarily still image ads, which I
Mhm.
love because I'm a huge believer in the power of still image ads, even in 2024. So, when we started back in 2016, everyone was doing still image ads. And then video took over and everyone's doing stories ads and they're doing video ads. And a lot of people still are doing those. And those definitely work too. But they are doing a lot of still image ads. And this is something that is working for me right now, doing
Yep.
still image ads too. So don't feel like you need to be doing video ads or all video ads. The last thing I want to mention is I just want to this is kind of like a pro tip for anyone listening. If you ever want to see the ads of a brand, if you ever want to see their Facebook ads, all you need to do is go to their Facebook page, click the About tab, and then select where it says under About, it'll say Page Transparency. And if you go there, you can actually see if they're running ads. And there's a button that says Go to Ad Library. And when you click that, that's going to take you to that brand's ad library. And this is just a very great way to conduct market research and competitor research. One thing usually is that they're running ads to their best selling products. So it kind of validates what their best sellers are. But also you can reverse engineer things like their ad copy. Like, what are they saying in the verbiage? What does their headline say? What emojis are they using? What's the call to action? Do they have a link? You know what I mean? There's a lot of, you can reverse engineer the success of these ads, and then you can take clues that you can then carry over into your own brand. So I just want to point that out. So anything else you want to say about marketing, Kerry?
I mean, the only thing I wanted to say about the ad strategy, and you were kind of talking about some different things there with the ad strategy, but what I was kind of getting at earlier, and I wanted to mention is we reviewed a few brands, and these are all 7-figure brands. So a lot of people are listening. Obviously, you're not yet a 7-figure brand. You're gonna be, but you're not yet there. So when we look at these 7-figure brands, a lot of times what we're seeing and what we see here with Keep Nature Wild is they're doing a lot. even just within their ad strategy, they're doing so much, right? They've got a lot of retargeting ads, and they've got a lot of Reels ads, and they've got a lot of still image ads, and they're kind of advertising in different ways. And so you want to always start out with a simple strategy. And I'm sure that this brand started with the simple strategy. And don't try to be what a $29 million brand is if you're, in the beginning stages, or even if you're a 6-figure brand. Even if you're a low 7-figure brand, you're not going to yet be at this stage, right? So like, it's just, we want people to keep that in mind as we look at like they've got a VIP group, they've got their Instagram, they're running paid ads, they're in wholesale. You're not going to be able to do all that at first. You're going to have to build up to that. And so we always recommend, like when you're in those beginning stages, that you pick one channel, that you have one primary acquisition channel, one retention channel, that you stick with one strategy to make your sales. So that would just be my advice around that, is take so much from this. As Adrian mentioned, you can look deeper into some of these ads and see maybe some of the older ads. Why are they working? Why are they still running those ads? What page are they going through? What does the imagery look like? What does the ad copy look like? You can take a lot from that, but also keep in mind they're running a very elaborate strategy because of the size of their business.
100%. Yeah. And surely they did not start out like this. They probably started out very bootstrappy and scrappy, like so many of us start out, and they've just evolved over time. So I absolutely second everything you just said. In closing, I want to kind of give a bonus tip here. So I want to share a bonus tip. So you might have noticed that I frequently mention mission-based brands, and I choose them intentionally in our 7-figure brand breakdowns. If you go through our past 7-figure brand breakdowns, they're always very mission-based brands. And that's because I'm personally very passionate about creating and helping others create mission-based brands like Keep Nature Wild, which is the featured brand here. And I truly believe that in 2024, the best way to create a profitable and sustainable t-shirt and apparel business that stands out from others is to create a mission-based brand. Like, believe in something and attract others who share those beliefs, share those values. This not only differentiates you from many other t-shirt and apparel businesses, but it attracts a more passionate, loyal following and customer base. And by creating that movement of raving fans who are passionate about your niche, about your brand and why it exists, you're much more likely to build brand loyalty, attract your ideal customer, and have them purchase again and again. Remember, the fortune's in the follow-up. You want those repeat sales. So if you are interested in starting or growing a profitable and sustainable mission-based brand, I want to invite you to check out my free 90-minute training on how to make your first $10,000 with Shopify and print on demand. You can register for that. It's a free training. You can register by clicking the link in the show notes below, or you can just go to ecomlegendsacademy.com/grow to attend that free training. With that, we're going to wrap it up. Kerry, any final thoughts?
No, it was a great episode. Fun.
This was so much fun. What's that?
I always like these episodes. We haven't done one in a while, so this is good to do.
Yeah, if you guys are liking them, let us know. We can definitely do more. I love featuring these brands because there's so much that we can learn from them. So with that, thank you for listening. Stay awesome. And remember that you're always just one design away. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Print on Demand Playbook Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us an honest review on whichever platform you are listening from. Thank you so much again, and we'll talk very soon.